Sage Intacct for Healthcare is proven to help healthcare companies grow whilst improving patient care and service and allowing stakeholders in the organisation to report on crucial healthcare metrics such as cost per resident per day, along with P&L by location or practice. Through interactive dashboards, care managers can see average revenue per bed, beds available, beds occupied, as they maintain a laser focus on cost. Sage Intacct provides our customers with an intelligent solution for healthcare accounting that delivers clear, measurable results. With real-time integration into billing, care home and practice management systems, Sage Intacct for Healthcare can streamline your invoice to cash process, and with links into all UK banks, makes bank reconciliation effortless. Sage Intacct is a world-class accounting solution, which is software as a service. It can be accessed from any device and any browser. It is also a multi-entity shared accounting environment. This means that master data can be shared across different legal entities, allowing new entities to be created quickly and easily, therefore supporting your organisation for future growth. You can see in my demonstration company healthcare group that I have a number of legal entities. I have Perfect Care, who have 2 care homes, the Willows and Bournemouth Sands. I have Perfect Smile, that have a number of practices which are locations in the one attached to the main legal entity. On the other side, I have Perfect Dental Partners, who have a number of separate legal entities which consolidate into the dental partner division. Now, users can have access to all of the entities, groups of the entities, or some of the entities. You can see here that Emma Penny and she has access to the whole organisation. She has 2 financial controllers who report into her. She has Dave Dental, who can transact in either Perfect Smile or any of the separate dental partners' legal entities. On the other hand, we have Caroline Care, and she just has access to one legal entity and the care homes that sit within that legal entity. Emma Penny can report on the organisation as a whole, or she can drill into any one of these entities and report them singularly. She can see the entities in a drop-down box here, or we can see an organisation view. I just make that a little bit smaller. So we can see here that we've got Perfect Health Group. Underneath that, we've got Perfect Smile, and they have a number of locations: Edinburgh, Glasgow, Leeds, and Chester. We've also got Perfect Care here, and they have care homes Bournemouth Sands and the Willows. It's interesting to note that Haven Pastures and Sandy Beach are no longer active, so they've obviously been sold or disposed of. We can also see that we've got Perfect Dental Partners with all of the divisions there. Now, it's possible to map onto this a number of key performance indicators, so we can see top metrics for the healthcare group as a whole, or each individual legal entity or site that sits underneath that. One of the key benefits of Sage Intacct is the ability to have these interactive dashboards. So as the CFO, Emma can see some key performance indicators for the whole group, such as revenue, gross margin, operating expenses, cost of revenue, EBITDA, and working capital. She can also see a trended profit and loss, actual versus budget, with some visual indicators here. She can also see liquidity trends and profitability trends. Now, she can see that for the healthcare group, or she could just have a look at the care homes division and see how they are performing. Remember, these are live and interactive, so we can see the revenue, gross margin, the working capital, and then we can contrast that to the dental group and see how they are performing. See how the data aggregates when we look at the locations or at the top level. We're then seeing the total revenue, the total gross margin for the group. Caroline Care is the financial controller for the care homes division of Perfect Health. She is responsible for all of the accounting for the two companies and care homes. They're not separate legal entities, just locations attached to the main company. You can see she only has access to Perfect Care. Locations are used to segregate the P&L for each care home so that cost centres can be common to both homes, allowing Caroline to compare costs and revenues between the two sites. We can also see some care home specific key performance indicators such as average revenue per resident, revenue per occupied bed, beds available, beds occupied, the resident count, and more importantly, the cost per resident per day. We can also see wages and salaries by department and contrast that against care assistance or nursing care. We can also see a profit and loss. Now this is on the dashboard. I can make this a full view if I want to by just clicking on the magnifying glass. Once I've done that, I will see that on a full screen. So I can see my traditional down the side here, breaking out all of my revenue lines, my direct costs, staffing costs, all the way down to gross profit, then into overheads, all the way through down to finance and bank charges, all the way to net fit. And you can see that that is contrasted and side by each location or each care home. One of the key benefits of Sage Intacct for healthcare is the complex and comprehensive dimensional analysis. So I can see this when I look at my revenue. If I want to make this report bigger, I can, and let's put it onto a full screen. So I can see by care home, I can see all of my revenue. So this is everything that's been billed, and I can see that a portion of the cost has been billed to the local authority and some of the cost has been picked up by the resident's family. So I can see bills split out by who they were invoiced to. I can also see the total revenue per resident, so we can see that that equals that. And then I can break that down even further to say, okay, of that revenue, what were the billing lines? How much of it was the monthly fee? How much it was various clubs or private medical insurance, and so on. Anything in blue, I have the ability to drill down into the source data, be that a purchase invoice or an accounts receivable invoice or even a nominal ledger journal. I can also see things graphically, so I can see operating expense by location, so which of my care homes is costing the most amount of money. And I can also see some AP trended monthly analysis along with accounts receivable as well. Now Caroline can see this for both of her care homes, or she could actually look at each individual care home in its own right. So we can see here that the average revenue per resident, the revenue per occupied bed, and the arrows up or down depends on whether the results you're seeing here is positive or negative from the prior period, the prior year, or to budget. So let's have a look and see how the Willows are performing. So we can see that they've got a higher average revenue per resident, but again, when we average that out for all locations, you can see that it aggregates the data. So Dave Dental is financial controller for the dental division. He and his team are responsible for the accounting for both Perfect Smile and each of the separate legal entities that form Perfect Dental Partners. Perfect Smile does actually have separate locations, but as similar to the care homes, they are locations within the main legal entity. And as I said, we've got separate legal entities here. So Sage Intacct allows for data to be shared across legal entities. So things like suppliers, chart of accounts, analysis reports, they can be set at once and then can be reported on in each one of these separate legal entities. It also allows Dave and his team to sit at the top level here and then process an accounts payable invoice for 1 minute for Perfect Smile and then for each one of the dental partners. What his team does not have to do is log off and log back on into separate legal entities. If we look at the here, we've got some interesting things going on. We've got total gross profit. Remember, arrows up, down, happy, sad, smiley faces is all because the results are positive or negative, increase or decrease from the prior period. the prior year. So I can see gross profit, I can see the number of patients that have come through in a particular month. I can also see the breakdown of NHS and private revenue. We have statistical data, so we can bring in the number of patients that have been treated and attach them to either the dentist or clinician. So you can see that we've got a number of dentists here. We've got Fiona Elwood and Krishan Patel, and they have treated most number of patients this month. Can also see traditional P&L as I could with the care homes, but obviously this has a focus within dental. So we can see January through to December, our NHS revenue broken down by revenue line, our private revenue broken down by revenue line, associate costs, hygienist costs, materials, all the way through down to gross profit. We can also see revenue by dentist or clinician, so we can see who has actually brought in the most amount of revenue. We can also see that by practice as well, so we can see which of my practice or locations have billed the most amount this month. And I can also see revenue by dentist or clinician. This is because we have very in-depth general ledger dimensional analysis, which allows us to sort and report our data in multiple ways. So we can see here that I've got my NHS revenue, my private revenue, and which of my dentists or clinicians have actually billed the most. Sage Intacct for Healthcare has a number of subscriptions that can support your organization. We have, as seen, a very comprehensive, fully digitalized general ledger that allows you to sort and report your data and analyze it in multiple ways. We also have things like statistical accounts, so we can bring through the number of treatments, the number of patients, the number of beds, and start performing calculations on revenue and cost. We also have accounts payable. Within accounts payable, we have accounts payable automation. This allows you to receive in accounts payable invoice and have them scanned through and workflowed through your organization for approval. We also have accounts received, and that allows us things like recursive billing, contract billing, even revenue recognition if you're billing for any of your services or plans in advance. We also have flexible company structures with full consolidation. There is also a shared ownership module as well to look at shared ownership structures and allocate P&L costs and profit against those. Whether you are a small or large healthcare provider, Percipient have a wealth of experience in the healthcare sector, and many of our customers are experiencing the of Sage Intacct.